Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of the blog. My first blog entry since I got back from Kharkov, Poltava and Sumy, three great cities in Ukraine. Man, I had a blast. Apparently you guys really enjoyed the blogs that we did. You know, there's one in particular that I did on the road to Poltava, in between Kharkov and Poltava. It's the one where I've got my sunglasses on, I'm holding a Coke, I'm talking about the rooster across the road, and I'm literally standing, although you can't see it, in a pile of trash. It was like being Geraldo Rivera in the middle of Hurricane Katrina, for goodness sake. But it made for a great blog entry, and you guys have given me some great feedback on those. So we're going to do more of those, and we appreciate your feedback very, very much. And again, just trying to step out a little bit from the stereotypical sales pitch or standard how-to type videos that we've done, because I think that sometimes it's important to take a step back when you're considering the search for a life partner and just consider the bigger questions or the bigger issues. So, you know, it's just kind of a fun little story that I like to tell, a little anecdote, if you will, that I'll mention right now. So I'll take you back, come back with me to 1953. 1953 was a great year for many reasons, I'm sure. I wasn't really here yet, but it was a great year because there were two monumental human achievements that occurred in the year 1953. Would you like to take a guess as to what either of those were? You guessed it. One of them was that in 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary became the first person to scale the summit of Mount Everest. Now, a lot of people tried before Sir Edmund Hillary successfully ascended to the summit. Many of them have never been heard from since, but there were a lot of attempts. And anyway, Sir Edmund Hillary, of course, was the first man to reach the top of the world, right? Also in 1953, another great human milestone was reached by Roger Bannister. If you saw the movie Chariots of Fire, you know what I'm talking about. Roger Bannister recorded the first official sub 4-minute mile ever in the history of mankind. Now think about that. Even the great Jesse Owens didn't record a sub 4-minute mile, and Roger Bannister, and it was clocked by the Guinness Book of World Records, clocked the very first human sub 4-minute mile in a track event somewhere in England. Right, so he was a student for Oxford. He was a medical student, I believe, at a track meet. And anyway, what's interesting about that is that as soon as Roger Bannister did it, in 1953, 2 weeks later, a gentleman from Australia named Peter Yardley also did it. And he did better than Roger Bannister's original sub 4-minute time. And then a year later, Roger Bannister and Peter Yardley met in a track event where Roger Bannister again won and a sub 4-minute mile and recorded the best time ever. So what does this all mean, guys? Basically, what are we really talking about when we talk about these kinds of human achievements? I always think it's kind of interesting when the prevailing human attitude about anything is, this cannot be done, and then somebody does it. And once somebody does it, all kinds of people do it. So what's interesting is, thousands of people have ascended the summit of Mount Everest, and it's by far an easy, it's not an easy thing to do at all. It's obviously it'll be difficult, but thousands of people have done that since Sir Edmund Hillary was the first one to do it. And again, not an easy thing to do, but a high number of people have completed a sub 4-minute mile in a track event since Roger Bannister was the first person to do it in 1953. So if you think about Sir Edmund Hillary and Roger Bannister, what was the thought process that enabled them to break those barriers that up until that point seemed unbreakable? And the thought process was, I believe, how do I do this versus can it be done? And that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit today. So if you'll allow me to take scaling Mount Everest and international track events and segue into international dating, how do I do this versus can this be done? Can I meet somebody from another country? Would she be beautiful? Will she fall in love with me for all the right reasons? Can I do that? If your approach to those questions is can it be done, you know, I think frankly you're going to get killed, because all the messaging that we get from the media and the angry birds who are out there and guys who are just socially dysfunctional who don't succeed, all the messaging that we get is you can't do this, beautiful women won't fall in love with you for all the right reasons, the whole thing is a big gigantic scam, you'll waste your money, you'll get kidnapped, you'll come back missing a kidney, etc., etc. And in reality, if your line of questioning to yourself is, what is it going to take for me to be able to do this? How can I do this? I mean, what needs to be done in order for me personally to do this successfully? You know, to answer those questions, you simply reach out to the guys who have done it successfully. How did you do it? What made the difference for you? I'm sure you've seen men fail. I'm sure you've seen men like yourself succeed. What are the behaviors of people who succeed versus angry birds and people who don't succeed. I mean, because there is a core set of behaviors, guys, that people who succeed subscribe to. They have a healthy attitude toward the women, first of all. They're not going to stand around and tell you that all the women have to be screened to meet their standards. They themselves believe that they have to be ready for this opportunity. They hold themselves to a high standard of social behavior. They're ready to court. They're ready to fall in love. They've done a little bit of reading. Maybe they've read Robert Ray's book, A Man's Field Guide to Dating, available at Amazon.com. A great best practices book around, those things that you can do to make a splash during the courtship process. You've read, you've done some things, you've lost a few pounds, you've gotten your self-esteem and your self-confidence up, you're ready to meet people, you're feeling great, you've talked to people, and you know how to avoid those mistakes. You've done all the things that you need to do to avoid the pitfalls and challenges that are a natural part of the dating process anywhere, and you're ready to go and be successful. Because you asked the question, how do I do this successfully? And you didn't dwell on the question of whether or not you can do this successfully. Of course you can do this successfully. Every single guy on the planet can meet a life partner successfully if you take the right steps and have the right best practices going for you. So, a great way to do that, guys, frankly, is if you go to loveme.com right now. Thanks to Greg, we have some amazing video that you guys should be watching. If you look at our logo at loveme.com, a foreign affair, just to the right of it, it'll say Photo and Video Center. Click that on. It's going to take you to a page that has 4 other icons on it, and in the lower left, you're going to see one that says Testimonials. You'll see a great picture of the Wahlberg family there. So you click on Testimonials, and the very first of a line of videos available to you in the upper left will be our good friend Joe from Phoenix wearing the purple shirt on the bus, I believe from Sumi, on the way to Kharkov during the recent tour. I was on that tour with Joe, and 7 of his tour mates, 7 of them. We have 8 guys who are telling you how they succeeded in this process, how they answered those questions. How is this done? How can I make a splash at the socials? How can I, arrange my schedule, convince my family this is the right thing for me to do, make the decision to get on the plane and go through the courtship process and have success? Let them just tell you how they got to the point where they're at right now in that video, going from Sumi back to Kharkov, winding up the tour where they met hundreds of very, very beautiful women and feel confident that they've met somebody they can now move forward with. Just go watch those stories and you will see the kinds of men like you who succeed in this process. And guys, that's all there is to it, right? You ask the question, how can this be done, versus whether or not it can be done. There are plenty of negative people out there and plenty of folks who have no idea what this is all about and who have never done it, who will tell you it can't be done. Go talk to the guys who are doing it and have done it and learn how it can be done. It'll make all the difference to you in your search process. I hope this was helpful. We'll definitely talk again soon.
Want to learn more? Check out our website at cebuwomen.com. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Then click on the notice bell to get notified every time we add something new. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Google+.